Shalom, brethren. Shalom to the righteous sisters out there. This is the brother Rakaya Kwan from the Dagam Israelites Camp UK. Right, another installment of, the Watchmen of Israel news. Right, what's the date today? Man don't live on no dates, like day by day out here. Like it's the 11th of December. It's a Saturday. Right, it's a Sabbath. Shalom to all the brothers out there on the Sabbath. Right. Basically, I'm just gonna do as usual, get into some news articles from the past week, linking it up with scriptures. Showing you how things are just unfolding day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. Right. We've got some juicy stuff this week too, but I'd just like to start off on this scripture right here, because it's a beautiful scripture. It says, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 14. For the hope of the ungodly is like dust that is blown away with the wind, like a thin froth that is driven away with the storm, like as the smoke which is dispersed here and there with a tempest, and compasseth away as the remembrance of a guest that tarrieth but a day. Right? But the righteous live forevermore. Their reward also is with the Lord, and the care of them is with the Most High. Therefore shall they receive a glorious kingdom, and a beautiful crown from the Lord's hand. For with his right hand shall he cover them, and with his arm shall he protect them. That's a beautiful scriptures, man. So the elect, the righteous is talking about the elect of Israel. Right? So the elect, right, those 144,000 men and the 1/3 of Israel, we ain't got to worry too much about these perilous times which are coming down. We just got to do our reasonable service to the Most High. Right? Keep the laws to the best of our abilities. Right? Gain this knowledge, wisdom, or understanding, and go out there and reproof and condemn 2/3 of the nation of Israel. Right? And bless and give this knowledge unto the elect and the 1/3 remaining to be sealed. That's our reasonable service, man. Prophesy the downfall of this white man, so-called white man, right? Which the so-called white man, in the Bible, you so-called Caucasians, right? You're known as Edom, the nation of Edom, right? You're not a color, you're a nationality of people, a seed of people, the wicked that the Bible speaks of, right? And you Negroes, Hispanics, Native American Indians, right? Those descendants by far of those peoples and our descendants across the world, right? You're the Israelites spoken of in the Bible. Salvation is for you, right? So let's start off with what the Lord's going to be protecting us from. Now it says here, this is an article from thenewamerican.com, and it says it's an article by a guy named Raven Clabo, brought out on Tuesday the 7th of December 2010, and it says the US military prepares for economic collapse. It says skeptics who continue to assert that the economic plight of the United States has been overstated need not look further than the Pentagon to find out just how wrong they are. CNBC has learned that the Pentagon is currently playing out war games pertinent to an American economic meltdown. Now the key to that is a war game. So they're preparing for war on who? The American people, aka martial law. Martial law meaning warlike law. Okay? And it's not just the American military that's prepared for that. The European militaries are prepared for that too. Right? Because they all move, NATO and the Horde, they move in synchronization. Right? It says, according to CNBC, the Pentagon is planning for real economic threats to America. right? Because the dollar's gonna die, man. Stock market's gonna crash, and all hell's gonna break loose. The dollar's gonna be devalued. It's gonna be worth nothing. Hyperinflation. So you're gonna get what? Food riots. And I'm gonna show you that faggot Glenn Beck, right? That faggot Glenn Beck even speaks on it, right? It says, ever since the crash of 2008, the defense intelligence establishment has really been paying a lot of attention to global markets and how they could serve as a threat to U.S. national security interests. Which, if they're planning to put war on American people, then who is it security they're actually trying to protect? Can you think about that? At one upcoming seminar that we're going to see here next month, they're going to be taking a look at a lot of the issues, including the use of sovereign wealth funds to manipulate markets, currencies, nation-state economic collapse, sovereign default, nation-state instability, U.S. allied budgets, deficits, national security infrastructures. Similarly, the Army has launched an operation called Unified Quest 2011, in which it studies the implication of large-scale economic breakdown inside the United States that would force the Army to keep domestic order amid civil unrest. The Quest also trains the Army in how to deal with the fragmented global power and drastically lower budgets. Right? Now, let me get a video up of that faggot Glenn Beck speaking on it. Right? Alright, should run.
Civil unrest. I've told you about civil unrest. What they have said about me? I'm a paranoid lunatic. I'm seditious. It's suffocating vision, I think a suffocating vision of paranoia. Really. Showing you for a year in advance, I told you unrest was coming to Europe, and then it's coming here. I have shown you now, in the last few months,
Which the elders have been saying that
unrest and violence in the streets of Europe.
for a long time.
Today in Greece, the union shut down public transportation. Who did I tell you would do that? The unions. Students are taking to the streets again in England over possible tuition hikes. I told you that would happen a year ago.
The Lord
We've
said
showed you the burning cars. We've showed you how they are mirroring the failed economic policies here in America. I'm a paranoid lunatic. Seditious. This must just be suffocating paranoia. Now, let me ask you this. Are they willing now to say the same thing about the Pentagon? Because they have been wargaming an economic crisis for almost 2 years now. One of these war games was called Unified Quest 2011. Listen to what they are preparing for at the Pentagon. In that wargaming series, they're looking at the implications of large-scale economic breakdown inside the United States that would force the Army to keep, quote, domestic order among civil unrest and force the Army to deal with fragmented global power and drastically lower budgets. That's weird. That's weird. That's just paranoid lunatics. They're seditious over there at the Pentagon, I guess. Now, what would be some of the things that might cause civil unrest? Well, let me show you a picture today from theblaze.com. It's of the Alaskan National Guard taking part in an exercise here for civil unrest. Oh, what does the guy have, the demonstrator have? Well, it's a sign that says, "Food now." Well, why would he need a sign like that? Oh, yeah, that's right. The suffocating vision of paranoia. Food shortage, or food being scarce, or food just being too expensive because coming inflation. Absolutely without merit, and I'm mentally ill. Really? The National Guard is going for that, along with the Pentagon. I've talked about the importance for preparing for tough times, having enough food and supplies, getting out of debt, being self-reliant. The reaction, without merit, doomsday, probably mentally ill. But when Time magazine posts an article, impending crisis, Earth to run out of food by 2050, I'm sure this is some sort of green
2050,
nightmare.
he's dying off.
This is good journalism. The only people I trust in the government, only ones I trust, are the military.
Dying off again.
The military is preparing. Are you? But the military, I believe, are being boxed into a corner
that's enough
by
of this
people who
faggot.
actually have their hands on the levers.
That's enough of Mr. Glenn Beck.